Welcome to episode number 3 of the Retro Gaming Roundtable. And before we get started tonight on our topic, I kind of want to introduce the rest of the members of the Roundtable and kind of let them tell you what you can find on their channel, what kind of content to expect if you go over to their channel, which a lot of them you probably have already visited. But let's start with the Grizzly veteran, Mark from Dad Racer.
Oh, I don't know about veteran, but well, here goes nothing. Hey, Mark here from Dad Racerville. On my channel, we talk mostly about Nintendo, although I'm dabbling in Genesis recently. So there's that. A lot of Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. I like to hunt for junk out in the wild at garage sales and do some pickup videos from time to time. So predominantly, that's what you can find over here.
Excellent. And I've been a longtime fan of your channel. Man, I don't know. You have got to create the best thumbnails I have ever seen, dude. Seriously.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And your editing skills, top notch, man. Your videos are very polished and man.
Thanks. I try to be goofy here and there, you know.
Well, it works. It works, man.
Was that a real lead pipe you were holding in one of those too?
Yeah,
that's what I was wondering too.
The Streets of Rage, the Streets of Rage video. Yeah, you know, just try to look for good images out there in Google land.
Well, you're doing amazing, man. Seriously.
So
all right. So we also have Jason from Kinda Cool Productions. Jason, just kind of introduce yourself. Give us an idea of what kind of content we can find on your channel as well, if you would.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. I'm Jason, Kinda Cool Productions. And basically, I'd say I kind of specialize kind of in hardware type modifications, things like that. My mantra is kind of original console, original controller, and then best possible way you can get it out to a video screen. So that's kind of what I do, whether it be like a PVM or an upscaler or something like that. But I kind of say that's my specialty, but I'm looking to branch out into some different things. I'm probably going to start doing some pickup videos and things like that. So keep an eye on my channel for that if you're interested in that type of content. But I think that's kind of what I'm all about.
I'm looking forward to that. You starting some pickup videos, man.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah, that would be cool. And your Pseudo Saturn video that you talked about, Pseudo Saturn Kai, and man, I learned a lot on that video. And I kind of think that might be the first video I watched of yours. Really good information. Man, I use my Pseudo Saturn. Especially with the price of games, dude. But absolutely, I'm glad you guys are here, and we have a new face on the table tonight. Lyndon from Old School Games and Stories. Lyndon, kind of introduce yourself and tell us what kind of content we could find on your channel as well.
Well, hey, I'm Lyndon. I'm the Old School Games and Stories guy. And I'm the laid-back Southern guy who has way too much fun playing old school video games. You come over to my channel, you're going to see me having fun. I'm going to be cutting up. You're going to see me playing real time with the games. I cut back and forth to say crazy stuff, drop some Southernisms on you. I'm going to try to make you laugh. I'm just going to have a blast with it, whether I'm talking about stuff in my collection or playing some old game from who knows what console. That's what you're going to get from me.
Awesome. Awesome. And I think we kind of got, I don't know, maybe 3 Nintendo guys and 1 Sega guy. And so I think that's pretty balanced because, you know, the Sega powered guy, well, he could take on 3 Nintendo guys. I'm just No, but Lyndon, I've been watching your videos, man. Really enjoying your channel. I've been going through it, catching up on some of the videos I missed earlier. So keep up the good work, man. Doing great.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but you know what? We might have a couple Nintendo guys. Mark and I are Nintendo guys, but man, Lyndon, you're bringing the light gun powers, man.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. There we go. And
hey, I'm Southern. You know, I like to shoot guns.
And I do enjoy your light gun series, dude. Good work. Yeah, I'm enjoying that because that is one genre that I really do like, and I don't have enough games to actually use the light gun, and you need a CRT TV and the original hardware. And
Yes.
so, yeah. And there's one game in particular. I'll let you talk about that later, but watch that video, and you did an excellent job. So good job on covering that. It's good stuff, man.
Thank you.
So tonight we're going to talk about 100% nostalgia-free games. And I asked each one of you guys to bring an honorable mention, and then we're going to talk about the main game that we pick. And this was totally inspired by Jason from Kinda Cool Productions in our last video talking about Shadow Ninja. And then Mark kind of suggested, hey, that's a good idea for an episode. So I thought, man, that's great. So that's kind of what inspired this episode. We are also going to do something a little different, and we might add this in as a regular type of thing. But at the end of this episode, we are going to talk about some YouTube channels that we watch, and we're going to share those with you so that you guys can check them out and maybe find some content on YouTube that you're unfamiliar with. Maybe you're familiar with them, but we're going to give them a shout out. So stay tuned to the end of the video for that as well. All right. So I think what we'll do is we'll start with our honorable mentions. So let's get started with Mark. We'll have Mark start it off, and then we'll have him kick it up to Kinda Cool Productions, and then we'll have him kick it to Lyndon, and Lyndon can kick it back to me. So Mark, do you have an honorable mention for 100% nostalgia-free games?
I do. Got it right over here. So nostalgia-free, meaning this is a game that we thoroughly enjoyed,
Good.
but I have got no nostalgic attachment to it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't play it until way, way, way past its prime. And that is Legend of Zelda. How's this picking up on the camera?
Looks
Link's
good.
Awakening here. And the honorable mention of the honorable mention, the Super Game Boy. This is how I played it.
There you go.
So Super Game Boy with the assist on this. I love this attachment. Gives you the extra color palettes and everything like that. We could talk about that all day long. This was such a fun game to play. This was well beyond the time that I played the 2 Legend of Zelda games on the NES, Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. Even after I played the Minish Cap, I love this game so much. It reminds me of so many other games in this series. There's elements from like Ocarina of Time. You're like, oh, that's where that came from. You know, the annoying owl that tells you the next place to go and this and that. I love the fact that at different times in the game, to traverse different parts of the world or navigate through a dungeon, it brings you into like a 2D. All of a sudden, it's a Mario game.
Cool.
So you notice that you've got Goombas and stuff like this walking around. So very, very interesting, and loved it very much. That's my pick right there for honorable mention.
Excellent pick.
Yeah.
Excellent.
How about you,
Thank
Jason?
you for
Good choice, Mark.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, very good choice.
So I don't have a prop for this one because unfortunately my EverDrive is in my Super Nintendo right now. So we're going to go propless for this one, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. My choice for my runners-up honorable mention, and this was close because I really wanted to do this one as my main one. I was this close, but it's Run Saber for the Super Nintendo. So if you flash back to when I was a kid, I was a Nintendo kid, obviously. I know I kept talking about that, but it's important in context here. You know, it comes time to make your decision for your Super Nintendo, or if we were going to go Super Nintendo, Genesis, your 16-bit choice, right? From going from 8-bit to 16-bit. And inevitably, I did take the Super Nintendo, but I knew there was going to be some titles that I left off there that were going to be big ones. And one of those was basically Strider for the Genesis. One of my favorite arcade titles. I knew I wasn't going to be able to play that one. But I wish I would have known about Run Saber because, man, it is basically a clone of that game. It takes a lot of the good things from Strider and rolls those in there. It was released in '93 for Super Nintendo, so I was still into Super Nintendo. I don't know how this one escaped my notice, but I didn't pick it up. But, man, it's a pretty shameless copy of the game Strider. But, you know, that's okay because Strider was cool. You know, it was a good game. I think there's some space there for a couple people to go ahead and copy that one. And it actually did some things to differentiate itself as you play through it. It actually was 2 players simultaneously, which was pretty cool, right? You know, I mean, I always give big
really
points
cool.
to the couch co-op if you add it, and always detract if you take it away, right? So in this case, they added in. I thought that was pretty cool. There were some levels there that do some mode 7, like you're on the top of this F-16 jet as it's flying through, and it's kind of flip around and doing some mode 7 craziness. And I thought that was a really cool kind of piece of the game there. And you know, there's the mini bosses come fast and furious. So, you know, Strider had mini bosses too, but this one has even more. So, you know, overall, you know, it does just enough to differentiate itself. But you know what? I was looking for a Strider clone, so I would have been perfectly fine with that anyway. So anyway, Run Saber is my choice on the Super Nintendo for my honorable mention / runner-up. So
Good pick.
Lyndon, what do you got, man?
Well, I'm going to have to go with a racing game here. I am from North Carolina. You have to be a fan or you get kicked out. But I got one here that I never saw growing up at all. Found this as a collector. And I have a lot of fun with this from time to time. This is one you can put in and have fun with for 20 or 30 minutes at any time. And it's Danny Sullivan's Indy Heat. And this is the classic top-down NES style. You can see the whole track on the screen at one time. It's very much like Super Sprint. If I showed you the gameplay and told you it was Super Sprint 2, you'd probably believe me. Except this one has more upgrades. You can actually hurt your car. You have to make pit stops. You can upgrade the engines, your fuel mileage, the pit crew, the tires, the brakes. And of course, it keeps a point system. You run 9 races per season. The better you finish, the more money you get. And I think if you finish 3rd or worse, you have to use a continue to go again. But I highly recommend this one. This is a fun little racing game to put in and play when you're looking for that quick fix.
Awesome.
So, Joel, what have you got over there, man?
Well, that's a great pick. I'm going to have to check that out. I have never played that game, so that's cool. Very cool. One of the games, and I'm glad you mentioned what we're, you know, kind of what a nostalgia-free game is, Mark. Good job on that. One of the games that I missed on the Sega Genesis back in the day, and it might be, it might have been released a little bit later, you know, from the Genesis heyday, but an excellent game. And I just found it once I started recollecting my retro games and collecting games for the Sega Genesis. It's a great run and gun, and that's Mega Turrican. I don't know if you guys have played Mega Turrican. There is a Super Turrican on the Super Nintendo, and I've played them both, got them both. But Mega Turrican gets the thumbs up for me, man. It is an excellent run and gun game. The music's great. The stage variation, the level variation is excellent. Just tight, super tight controls. And if you like a Contra type of game that you have like a Bionic Commando grappling hook and that type of thing, Mega Turrican is for you, man. It is awesome. And I do love Super Turrican as well. Both of them are excellent games, but my honorable mention is Mega Turrican. So
gotta check that out.
Yeah, there you go. Try that out on your Sega Genesis.
Always
highly
looking for
recommend
suggestions. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And there's a lot of probably Sega Genesis guys that haven't played that game, honestly. And I think it's kind of gotten more popular, here lately, but it's an excellent game. All right, so let's get on to our main pick for our nostalgia-free games. Dad Racer, are you ready? Do you have your main pick?
I'm sort of ready. Yes. Here's
Rock
my
on,
main pick. Okay, are you ready?
I don't know.
See that's Bulls versus Blazers for the Super Nintendo, which today is going to act as my copy of
Sweet.
Earthbound. Yeah. A couple of years ago, when I looked up the price of this game, I think it was $180.
Yeah.
And little did I know that today that would have been a screaming deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So today, this is going to have to be my $360 copy of Earthbound right here. So what's my history with this game? Well, a long, long time ago, we used to rent games at Blockbuster. I never actually rented it myself or played it myself, but I did have a Super Nintendo, but I used to go over to a particular friend's house and would often watch him and his brother play games. This was like old school Let's Plays, right? You go over to somebody's house, you end up watching them play the game for hours on end. And that's how I got my first experience with Final Fantasy 2 and 3 on the Super Nintendo, and Earthbound as well. And it wasn't until many years later when the Super Nintendo Classic came about.
Yes.
I was looking at the list of games and I'm like, Earthbound. I know that game from somewhere. And I hadn't touched the game or experienced it ever since. This was released in like fall of 2017.
Wow.
It doesn't get a lot of love on the back. It's a little postage stamp size picture.
Yep.
It's a quarter of the size of Super Metroid and F-Zero. And when I got the Classic, this was one of the first games that I played, and it was such a mind-blowing gaming experience. It's a turn-based RPG game, but unlike any I've ever played, the story is so unique. It's not set in any kind of like fantasy or cyberpunk type world. This is set on Earth in familiar locations. You're just a normal kid, seemingly normal kid, and along the way you meet other friends, and something's amiss. You wake up one day and a meteor has struck Earth, and then everything has gone haywire. Let's talk about the fight system. It's not, you don't have random encounters. You have enemies that you can see. They will either sneak up on you or you could sneak up on them. And this determines the order in which your turns take place in the battle. If you're able to sneak up on an enemy, you get the first, the first move in battle. Very unique stuff. You could dodge enemies and just say, see you later. You don't have to worry about these random encounters. The enemies themselves are people that have gone haywire, or they're like deranged taxi cabs or stop signs. Really goofy stuff. There's every once in a while, there's a photographer that pops down from the screen, and it freezes the game. And he will take a picture of the screen, and then he'll go away, and then you'd be like, well, what was that all about? What was the point? Well, at the end of the game, when you beat the game, it will cycle through the credits with all of these photos that the photographer took throughout the game. So you can kind of reminisce about the whole gameplay experience. So many unique things going on in the game. You have payphones at your disposal where you can have some of your items picked up to store, or you can retrieve them from inventory. You can order pizza. You can call your mother if you're to cure homesickness. You can call your dad to save your game. So many really interesting, goofy things. You can go and pick up teddy bears for at the store. Instead of weapon upgrades, of course, you have that as well. You pick up a teddy bear too, and these are like your shield, and eventually if your teddy bear takes enough damage, it turns into a pile of fluff. The creativity in this game is absolutely off the charts. So yes, this is my very excellent pick. I would highly recommend just playing it, This is obviously a more economical way of playing it. You get to play it in retina burning HD. So that's always fantastic. And I guess that's my big ramble about Earthbound. I couldn't recommend the game enough, but no nostalgia attachment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And also, Mark, that soundtrack, man. The soundtrack.
The soundtrack's unbelievable. Yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about it. It's probably my top 2 games of all time. Maybe top 5. It's so hard to pick, but it's up there, man.
Good choice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. How about what's going on over there, Jason? You got a good one?
I hope so. I think so. Yeah. So just to kind of, close up what you were saying about Earthbound, man, I bet you there's a lot of people out there that actually found that one nostalgia free too. It's one of those kind of cult favorite type games that kind of has a word of mouth, following that's going on. So that's a good choice. I'm glad it showed up in this discussion because I think it's a good one for that type of thing.
Yeah. And you know what I also want to play, which I haven't, is Mother 3, I guess, which was ported over to the Game Boy Advance. I haven't explored that at all, but that's on my radar along with a lot of other things. But I can't imagine that's got to be a fantastic game.
Yeah, once you start going down the Earthbound path, right?
Yeah, such a creative game.
Cool. All right, so I'll share mine here. So, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw the EverDrive here. I feel like Pirates Bay or something every time I do this, but put my EverDrive out here because I don't have this card. But hey, it's expensive, right? So what are you gonna do? All right, so my card, my choice here is Sin and Punishment on the N64. And the N64 and I have an interesting relationship because being a Nintendo kid, I had a Nintendo, I had a Super Nintendo, love both of those, and I got an N64 on day one, and I just never really had that same attachment that I had with those other two consoles. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. I won't get into all that here, but about 3 or 4 years ago, I decided I wanted to stop just pulling my N64 out and playing my gaming comfort foods and then switching back away, right? So you know what, I'm going to deep dive and see if I can find some hidden gems or overlooked titles. And I really just kind of went on a tear doing research, Google and YouTube and all sorts of things. And one that kept coming up was this Sin and Punishment game. So I said, you know what, I got to check this one out. And man, I'm so glad I did because this is such an awesome game. Let's talk about what it is first of all. Well, it was launched in late 2000, so it was a late release on the N64 anyway. And it was only launched in Japan, so I guess I have a couple excuses of why I probably come in nostalgia free from it. But even if it had been released in the West, I probably wouldn't have picked it up because I had other things going on. By that time, I think I was probably getting into Dreamcast. I had PC gaming going, so even if they launched it, I probably would have missed it. So it's no excuse really. But anyways, Japan only released. It was co-developed by Treasure and Nintendo. So how about that, right? Yeah. So we know about Nintendo and what they can do when they put their mind to it. And Treasure is another great developer too. They've got some awesome stuff that they did for the Sega Genesis. They did, Gunstar Heroes. They did Radiant Silvergun for the Dreamcast. They did Ikaruga. So they've got some stuff out there that's really good stuff. And then, combine it with Nintendo, you think, well, this has really got the DNA to be a great game. And I think it is, It plays, Treasure is really known for kind of really pushing the limits of whatever console they're working on. And they did no differently here with N64. It really feels like a tech demo. I mean, it's really one of those games where if somebody's going to tell you, hey, the N64 sucks, it's underpowered, it doesn't look good, show them this game and see if it kind of, changes their mind just a little bit. And it's early polygons, I get it, but it keeps it moving at a pretty good clip, so, you don't get time to kind of look at the low-res textures, it keeps things moving, it's really a hectic, fast-paced game. It's an on-rail shooter with some shooting gallery elements mixed in. So if you wanted to think of like a close cousin, you could probably think of like the Panzer Dragoon series, if you exclude Panzer Dragoon Saga because it's more of an RPG. But the standard Panzer Dragoon games are pretty close, relative to what this game actually does. And there's some story here on this one. It's kind of this dystopian thing. I think there's some creatures that are being bred to be food, and they figure it out, and they revolt and turn on you. And oh, by the way, there's some sort of military force that hates you for, I don't know, reasons. I don't really know. But if you're following the plot for this game, you're doing it wrong, right? Because this is kind of like the game equivalent of a Michael Bay movie. You just sit back and watch the zany action and the crazy pretty explosions and just kind of take it all in. And you're really just blasting everything in front of you, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. I would say that probably graphically speaking, it's probably one of the best games on the N64. Again, talking about the tech demo type thing. But yeah, it's just a really good game. I'm glad I encountered it. Nostalgia free. I had no idea this thing was even out there. I wouldn't have found it if I hadn't gone mining for these types of things. But yeah, there actually is a Wii sequel that came out for this, and I've heard it's really good. I haven't played that one yet either, but I've heard really good things about that one as well. So if you get out there and try that one and you want to kind of continue that thing going forward, you could check out the Wii version of the game as well. But yeah, that's it. So, Sin and Punishment on the N64. It's my nostalgia-free #1 choice right now.
Nice.
Awesome.
So, Lyndon, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to have to check out that game you was just talking about. I'm kind of in the same boat with you on the 64. I got that when I was a senior in high school. I just don't have the attachment to it like I do the Nintendo and Super Nintendo. I guess with everything else that was going on in life at that point, I wasn't paying close attention. But today, I've got an amazing game here that was completely missed by everybody, including me. And this game still doesn't get a whole lot of love, even as popular as retro gaming is today. Mm-hmm. And that is the Lone Ranger. This is one of the best all-around adventure games that there is for the NES. I have to put this in the same category as The Legend of Zelda, probably Crystallis, Willow, and some of the other ones like that. This is on the opposite end of the spectrum of the racing game that I showed you earlier. This is not a quick fix, play for fun game. You're going to have to put some time into this. But I assure you, it is worth it because this game is fun. The variety of gameplay in this is astonishing. You start out in the overworld, very similar to Zelda and Zelda 2. You have to go around to the different cities, talk to all the townspeople. You'll eventually find somebody that starts you on a long series of fetch quests. And man, you're going to end up in side-scrolling action platform stages. There's going to be top-down shooter stages. There's first-person dungeon crawler stages that use the zapper.
There you go.
So fun. But you do not have to use the zapper on this one. You can use the controller and move the crosshairs around. There's also a really cool stage where you're on your horse and it's a first-person view and you're looking to the front and the back, left and right, shooting enemies coming up on their horses with the zapper. This game is so cool. Everybody needs to check this out. So, how did this get missed back in the day? I've asked myself that, and I went back and done a little research. Now, I want to show you something real quick. Right here, I have volume 24 of Nintendo Power. This is from May of 1991. Now, I want to show you something. If I can get it open here. Look at this. Look at this.
Got the whole spread.
Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages on this game. And not only that, it's on the back of the poster.
Wow.
8 pages of a preview for this game.
Wow. And it still got missed.
Yeah.
I read these cover to cover. I love The Lone Ranger. We all grew up with that show. It's awesome. How did we miss this? I can tell you. Like I said, this come out in May. When Nintendo Power done a big preview like that, that game was out that month. You could go rent it, buy it, whatever. This game did not get released until late August. Do you know what else come out in late August of 1991? The Super Nintendo. So you guys remember what it was like to see Mario World for the first time. It was amazing. And then you throw in titles like F-Zero, Pilot Wings. Ain't nobody gonna pay attention to this. You took your Nintendo and you just slid it off to the side. So I come across this later as a collector. It's like, wow, wait a minute, there's a Lone Ranger game? Cool. Started playing this and just, holy crap, how did I miss this back in the day? So I have to recommend this to everybody. Unfortunately, in today's market, this one does command a little more of a price. You're probably going to have to pay about $60 to get this one. And that sucks because it's so good. But you know, if you're lucky enough to get your hands on one of these, you know what to do with it. And there's plenty of other ways to get around not having the actual cartridge. And like I said, you can play it without the zapper. But oh boy, it is so much funner if you can play it with the zapper.
Yep.
So that's mine for today. I'm going to throw it over to Joe. What you got, man?
Well, that's a great pick. And honestly, the first time, if I would have go into a game store and I saw the Lone Ranger for the NES, even nowadays, before I saw your video, I would have passed it up, man. I just would have. So after watching your video, it's excellent. And I love it when games have they have a lot of hours available to them, but they also mix genres and they mix it up. And
Isn't that the game that Bio Billy wanted to be, basically, guys? Don't you think?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so great pick. My pick, and I've been kind of in the PlayStation mood lately, and a game that I completely missed on the PlayStation 1. And it's not that expensive now. It's probably running around $30, $35. But I don't know if you guys ever played a Square role-playing game, a role-playing game that Square made. Have you guys ever played any of the, the Square role-playing games?
Is that one of those like the little indie games?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those companies that nobody's heard of, but and on the PlayStation 1, all the Final Fantasy series, right?
Yeah.
So think of a really good Square role-playing game, great story, and think of that as a mech game. That's right.
Okay.
So, Front Mission 3. Excellent game. It has a long, sweeping story, tons of cutscenes. But the really, really cool part of it is, and the cutscenes and the story, it's great. I mean, it keeps you engaged in the game. But the really cool thing about it is it's a strategy role-playing game in where you are in a mech and you're fighting other mechs. You're fighting helicopters. You're fighting tanks, other military vehicles. In this game, if you do things right at the end of the battle, you can actually confiscate other mechs that you've defeated. It's kind of the early days of the internet. So during intermission between fights and different parts of the story, you're actually able to get on the black market and upgrade your mech. You can buy different weapons for your mech. There's even parts in the battle where you can actually hop out of your mech and you're this little dude and you're running around on the map. But it's amazing. I love the the Shining Force series, and I just love role-playing, turn-based role-playing strategy games, and this is an excellent one. And it's got a lot of hours to it. It's a one-disc game is all. There's not a lot of voice dialogue. A lot of the cutscenes are text, but it keeps things fresh. It's just one that I completely missed. And now I guess using kind of cool's words, I have fresh nostalgia for it now.
Nice.
It's an excellent game and affordable. And of course, you have to mention that your PlayStation 2, your PlayStation 3, all play PlayStation 1 games. So, and even if you don't have a CRT, if you have a PlayStation 3, you can play it on your HD TV. It's a great game. Highly recommend.
Yeah, good pick, Joel. I'm glad somebody brought an affordable game finally, man.
Well,
and the rich man's retro game room.
It's yeah, I've heard the few comments, but and it's it's not super affordable, but it's kind of medium, 35 around that, and 35 and loose disc. So
yeah. Every now and then we got to break the bank, right? I feel like this topic is a good one to kind of go expensive on a game. If we ever had a good one, this is the topic right here, right?
Hey, I would pay $60 for the Lone Ranger. I would pay that. I would.
It's worth it.
Yeah,
it's worth
definitely.
it.
All right, so some really good games. I'm really happy with your choices, and honestly, man, some games I've never played before. I did discover Earthbound. I love that pick. I discovered that when I got my my SNES Classic, and I was standing outside of my GameStop at like 7 in the morning, standing in line to get in my little town there, and there was a line. Unbelievable. But
I also waited in line to get it.
Yeah,
I did too.
I mean, especially after the NES Classic comes out, then you're like,
I know.
And it took me a while, but I got my NES Classic. But that's a really, it's unfortunate. I don't know. It's a really affordable way of playing games, though, if you get your hands on one.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to hard to stomach the thought of shelling out for an actual legitimate Earthbound cartridge these days. But I'm glad it's on the Classic. You know, it's
absolutely
really great way to play it.
I didn't think much of that game because I remember back in the day seeing that in the bargain bin, a big old Earthbound box.
Oh man!
And thinking, well, you know, it must not be that great, you know. And I remember it, man. I do. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's some regrets for you.
Amazing.
I don't know. You know, it's weird, you know, how sometimes the timing that games are released, like you discussed, Lyndon, they're overlooked and you miss them until later in life. And that's really one of the very cool things about retro gaming is finding these games you've never played before, discovering them later in life and going, man, where was this all my life, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, excellent segment. And I think that what we're going to do now is we're going to do our community shout outs, our YouTube shout outs. And we're going to do that. And then afterwards, we're going to have a little bonus discussion and a little bit of a pop quiz for the panel.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to score 100% on my pop quiz, just you know, but I'm going to put,
oh boy.
Oh yeah, it's but anyway, so let's shine the light on some other great content creators and some great channels. And I have a few ideas on maybe some of the channels you guys are going to bring up, but let's start with Dad Racer. You got a couple of channels you want to shout out?
Sure. Yeah. You know, for this first go around, I was thinking about this, and the first one that came to mind was Sam. That's Contagious Collection. Contagious Collection. And this is how I met you, Joel, and I think you as well, Jason. And what he does, totally, you know, no frills. He just does like a pickups video every once in a while, but every single video he has, he's got like 100 things that he found. Really fun to watch. He just, you know, stands in front of the camera and shows everything, talks about it. You could tell that he's really passionate for nostalgia and very, very humble. You know, he's the type of guy to just say, you know, check out this channel or that channel. Every once in a while, he'll do channel shout outs, and he'll even say like, you know, don't subscribe to me, check out all these channels. So I got to pay my respects to him because that's how I met you guys. So I highly recommend him, Contagious Collection. And let's see, another shout out. I'll shout out 123 Gamer Man, who also does pick up videos from time to time. He's got a hell of a Super Nintendo collection. He'll find really unusual, rare things. I don't know how he does it, but check him out. He's got a hell of a Laserdisc collection too, by the way, that I think he found all in one lot. Yeah, 123 Gamer Man, one word, I think.
Yep. Great picks.
Yeah, those are good choices, Mark.
Yeah, so, thanks a lot.
I got a couple I want to talk about, and I know one's not going to be a surprise to everybody here because I know during the pregame show or whatever that we did, we always talk about this channel. But it's called, what my first one up is You Really Play That with a question mark. And he's popped in from time to time to chat it up with Joel and some of his live streams, and I've seen him leave comments, and inevitably led me to his YouTube channel. And man, what a channel. He does these really quick hitter reviews. Like they're usually like 5 to 8 minutes for each review. And he really hits that sweet spot where you feel like he's comprehensively reviewed the game, but he hasn't worn out his welcome while he's doing it, right? You just get to the end and you go, wow, that was perfect. And then they're like potato chips. You want to do another one and another one and another one, you know, at 5 to 8 minutes. So he's got this smooth, calm delivery. It's kind of like a Classic Gaming Quarterly a little bit, maybe not that deep, but kind of in that family. And he's real calm and even keeled. He doesn't get terribly excited when a game is awesome, and he doesn't get terribly excited when a game sucks. You know, it's just a matter of fact review. And I think in this day and age of YouTube, you know, come look at me, sensationalism. I really appreciate that. And I think we all kind of do. And I think we've all got stuck on his channel because I've seen some of our comments kind of dropped in there throughout. Anyway, so You Really Play That question mark. Check that one out. That's a good channel. And then for my second one, I'm going to throw out Neo Turbo Maniac. So I know we do a lot of Sega. We do a lot of Nintendo here, and that is cool. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I know that Joel's been kind of dipping his toe in that water lately for that TurboGrafx 16 and Neo Geo stuff. I've seen some of those live streams with some blazing lasers, and you know, got some Metal Slug action going on, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yep. So yeah, check out it. You know, if you're nervous about it and you've been like, well, I've been with those Neo Geo guys, and I get it. They're kind of they can be a toxic community at times, but I can guarantee that none of that's going on over there at Neo Turbo Maniac. He doesn't have time for that. He's very newcomer friendly. Just a great channel to check out if you want to kind of segue over into some of the kind of more rare systems. But anyway, good guy, Joshua at Neo Turbo Mania.
Great. All right, Lyndon, you got a couple of shout outs.
Well, I do. My first one here, the channel is called I'm a Cocoa Nut. Now, the Cocoa, that is the nickname for the Tandy color computer.
There you go.
So I did a video on that of my collection. That is the first video game system I ever had. And I showed it on a collection series a couple of weeks ago. And those guys from that channel saw it and were highlighting it on their live video chat that they do every Saturday. I got an invite to come and watch it, of course, in my comments. And when I finished working in the yard, I think it was last week, come in and saw it and clicked on it. So let me go watch these guys for a minute. This will be pretty cool. And when I went over there, it was my video playing. I thought something had messed up, like it had went to my channel or something. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? And it takes a second for the sound to come in on those live podcasts. And they were watching my video. And I had them laughing at the controller.
Yeah.
They were the one that don't come back to center. So I watched these guys for a while. I've subscribed to their channel. They love the old Tandy color computer stuff. I mean, you got guys that are, you know, just gamers to guys who are experts in the hardware and software and the programming with the basic and making their own game. These guys are still making brand new games.
That's awesome.
For that PC gaming system that's 35 years old, or it's a little older than Nintendo's. So go check those guys out. If you're into that old school PC hybrid gaming systems, these guys really know their stuff. They do a live video podcast every Saturday at 2:00, and it can go from 3 to 4 hours. And they just have a blast. And like I said, these guys are a wealth of knowledge if you're looking for stuff like that. So go check them out. That's I'm a Cocoa Nut.
Excellent.
And for my second one, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to break the rules here a little bit. I have to give a big shout out to Mark, Dad Racer.
Yep.
He kills us every time with those JPEGs for the image for his video. He's killing us on those.
Yep.
Are you a professional photographer or something?
No. But thank you very much.
Photoshop or GIMP, whatever you're using. I just want to say thank you so much for being such a cool guy. You are the first person that I stumbled across on YouTube out of this group. I think it was Abadox was the first video that popped up. I saw this guy. I was like, well, this guy looks cool with the shades on. Let me check him out. I've not seen him before. Watched the video. I loved it. Instantly, as soon as it was over, subscribed, left a comment. And the next thing I know, within a few days, Mark and I are conversing back and forth in the comments on each other's videos.
Yep.
And that has what has led me to be here with you guys. So Mark, thank you so much for being an awesome guy. Your channel is awesome. Everything you do is awesome. You're an awesome guy. Thank you so much. And I can't say it enough.
Thank you. That was unexpected. And wow, I really appreciate it. Instant friends, by the way. It's true. We were even emailing back and forth. So really, really happy to meet you and to bring you, on the show.
That's awesome.
Hey, you guys have made YouTube 1,000 times funner for me, and I was already having fun.
Right.
Well, that's what it's all about. Seriously.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, that's what has been so rewarding and unexpected when I just started putting a few videos up, and I'm thinking, make a few videos here, and I just got addicted to the community, being part of this community. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to give a few shout outs. So the other day I had somebody come over to the channel for the first time, and they subscribed, left some comments, and then all of a sudden I saw a few other ones come trickling in, and then a few more, and they're like, hey, I heard about your channel on Geeks with Cash YouTube channel. And I've been a subscriber of his for quite a while now, Nick over at Geeks with Cash. And so I want to kind of pay that back, but not only that, I mean, he is a very good content creator, very humble, very nice dude, excellent and entertaining videos that he puts on. He live streams modern and retro games. He goes through those games himself. He doesn't watch, instructional videos and then play them. He figures it out right on the live stream, and it's awesome to watch, man. And I've learned a lot from him. He also has some collectibles that he highlights, action figures, which is right down my line, man. And just as a note, they're not dolls, they're action figures. So
that's right.
That's right.
Damn right.
Just a little bit of a rabbit trail. My dad yelled at me one day to clean up my dolls when I was probably about 7 or 8. And man, that just made me, Dad, they're not dolls, they're action figures. Come on. But Nick from Geeks with Cash gave me a shout out, and it was completely out of the blue. Also, there was just a little bit of a change. Retro Bro usually hosts a Miko After Dark, and he was off here the last episode. So Nick hosted it on his channel, did a great job. If you guys get a chance, go over and check that video out. Oh my goodness, you will laugh. It's very positive, very good stuff. So Geeks with Cash, thank you very much, and please go check him out. And then the other guy that gave me a shout out of the blue, and I'd been subscribed to him as well, is Alpha Nerd, the Sega Snob. Well, he had me at the name right there. So, that's, and, from one Sega lover to another, I've watched his videos in the past. The guy's got some skills. He does some very cool challenge videos, and he's got one going right now. And it's Earthworm Gym, the Earthworm Gym challenge on the Sega Genesis. So if you get a chance, go over, check his video out. If you're, somebody who's familiar and who loves Earthworm Gym and wants to take part in that challenge, that would be awesome. I am not good enough at that game to take part in this challenge. It kicks my butt. I love the game.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
Love it. I do, man. And of course, Tommy Tellerico being involved with Earthworm Gym. Love Tommy Tellerico's music and his contributions to the video game community. So great game. And but yeah, it kicks my butt. So Alpha Nerd, the Sega Snob, if you guys get a chance, check his channel out. I know that you won't be disappointed on any of the shout outs tonight. And do us a favor. I like to hear that somebody had shouted me out. So let them know. Say, hey, kind of cool. Shouted your video out if you go over and check them out. And, just so that they know, what's going on. So great shout outs, guys. All great channels. And there's one guy that kind of cool brought up, you really play that, and I think you better hold on to that name, because once his videos get out there, he's going to be doing well.
We're getting on the ground floor there, aren't we?
Exactly. And it's awesome to have him show up in the live streams and chat us up and contribute. It's great. So all of them solid picks. And Lyndon, man, you brought the thunder tonight. I'm gonna have to go check out your pick, man. That's awesome. And then this other guy, Dad Racer, that I've never seen his, so that's
I was this close to picking that one. I was this close.
I was gonna sneak it in somehow.
There you go. And what I'm gonna do,
I'm blushing.
It's some, you know, it's kind of cool to be a part of this community and to be a part of a positive retro gaming community. That's the whole thing, man. I am going to put cards in this video, so you'll see them flash up as you're watching the video with all three Kind of Cool Productions, Dad Racer, and Old School Game and Stories, so that you guys can click on those and check them out. Their links for the shout outs and for these guys will also be in the description of the video. If you go down the description, you want to click on them, go check them out, you know, let them know that you're watching, you know, that kind of, that's the big things. Reading comments after a video and seeing people comment, that's the coolest thing, man. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're gonna go to the lightning round pop quiz. And I would be mean and start with Lyndon right off the bat, but I'm not going to. So. Come on, let's have it. Come on, throw it. All right, all right. That's what I like to see. Okay, so here's the challenge.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So we talked about nostalgia-free games, right? So let's flip that a little bit. Are there any games that you have a strong nostalgic pull to that maybe you had traded them off, sold them off? You decided, man, I loved that game back in the day. I'm going to collect that game. And then you get it and you play it and you're like, you know, the nostalgia's there, but the game's not that great. So, Linda, do you got any type of a thought on that? That is the challenge.
I loved as a kid Who Framed Roger Rabbit for the NES. I rented that one several times because I never saw it for sale anywhere, but the local rental store had it.
Yep.
And I can remember renting that and wandering around for hours, never beat it. And like I said, never owned it. And when I started collecting and saw it somewhere for a few dollars, oh yeah, I gotta have that one. And you get it home and you play it, it's like, well, I guess it does deserve that reputation, don't it? So
there you go, there's mine. and you know, we're not really saying that they're bad games. I mean, a lot of people might say they're bad games. We just, you know, maybe romance.
No cheating. Mark's looking through his collection.
Busted, man.
Busted.
So, all right. So we're going to give Mark a few seconds here, maybe. And we're going to go to Jason with Kind of Cool Productions. Man, how about you?
Just so you know, I'm cheating too. I'm looking at my collection like straight across from here.
See?
It's just not as obvious as Mark. Look how obvious Mark is looking. All right, so I'm gonna throw one out there. I actually eyeballed this one just now, but I think it's a good fit for this. So I'm gonna go the original Metroid on Nintendo. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the original Metroid. It's just that all the sequels did everything so much better. And I remember when I was recollecting for the NES, just like you were saying, Joel, I was like, I gotta get me an original Metroid. Why is it so cheap? Why is it like, you know, $15? I was like, it's one of the heavy hitters. And I got it and I popped it in and I started really digging. I was like, man, this is a really tedious game, you know?
It is.
And there's no easy map. I remember as a kid, I had graph paper while I was drawing out maps and things. And, you know, it was like one of those things where you just come back and you remember it being so much better than it actually is. And it's not a bad game. I know I'm probably going to make people mad because there's probably some hardcore original Metroid game. And I don't dislike the game. Let me stress that.
Right.
But it's just one of those ones, exactly like you said, you go back and the nostalgia goggles are off and you're like, man, where's Super Metroid? I'd rather play that one, you know, or really any of the other later ones. But I'm gonna call that one for mine.
All right, cool.
That's a great pick, especially because of the lack of a map. That's really, really hard to go back to.
In the saves, too. Remember the save passwords on that one were a bear. Too, remember?
Yeah.
They were long.
They were very long, and they had punctuation and all sorts of weird stuff, if I remember correctly. So
yeah. Well, I was cheating. I'm sorry. But I think I'm going to have to go with Bart versus the Space Mutants on the Nintendo. And there was something about The Simpsons back in the day. And then finally having a video game, just the coolest thing. But just to revisit this, I mean, was it ever really a good game? I don't think I ever got past the first stage, honestly. I've always tried to get into it and I just can't, but I want to, but Yeah.
Just not there.
I'm nostalgic for the show, and was a huge Simpsons cartoon, TV show fan a long time ago. But the video game itself, I really wish I could get into it, but I can't. That's my pick.
It's a good
That's
pick.
a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, liked all of them. So one of my favorite games on my NES, and the very first NES game I owned, was Excitebike. Love Excitebike, and I love the NES version today. So when the N64 came out, I picked up Excitebike 64, and I put a lot of hours into that game. I did, man.
Ooh.
Yeah, I learned the tracks. I thought, man, this is pretty sweet, 3D. So saw it in my pawn shop, picked it up, Excitebike 64, came home and popped it in. I'm like, man, this could be a cool experience. I don't know what I was thinking, man. I don't know. I played like 10 minutes and I'm like, it can't be that bad. It wasn't that. So then I, turned it off, came back to it, for the next 2 or 3 days. And I'm just like, man, I'm sorry, but this game is not good.
I think we probably make a lot of N64 people mad. I know that we've got a lot of N64 fans that tune into the channel, but you could probably mine a ton of titles off the N64 that probably fit that criteria.
Yeah.
I'm thinking now, like, remember Turok on the N64?
Oh,
yeah.
I love that game when it's out. Boy, you cannot revisit that one very easily.
No,
don't play it.
Well,
play it, yeah.
I did recollect that, and I do still love it, man. But it has a lot of nostalgia to me too. But yeah,
I know I sound like I'm slamming on the N64, but I've got the yin and yang going on because my game was an N64 Sin and Punishment. So see, it all kind of balances out, right? I don't hate the N64. I don't hate it.
No, and yeah. And I'll tell you how to play Metroid, the original one. Play it on your NES Classic with the save state, man. It's the only way to do it. Right. And it's still tough. It's still tough. Yep, that's right.
There's what the GBA game, what is it, Zero Mission?
Yeah, I think that was essentially like a recreation of the first one anyway.
Yeah,
great game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I may have played that on a hacked Wii that I don't know I own, but yeah, that's a good game. Yeah, absolutely. Some of those games, that's kind of the way to revisit them is on the classic systems with the save states and but the no map. Yeah, that was tough, man. I remember the graph paper. There's a few things that real retro gamers understand. That mapping things out on paper is one of them. Having I used to have a pen and paper next to my gaming chair, my easy chair. I'd sit in and play my Nintendo. And you know what that was for, right? Passwords.
Oh, yeah.
Passwords, man.
Did anybody ever get the password written? Oh, no, you did. Got the password written down incorrectly. And you thought you wrote it down. Oh, you wrote it down correctly. Oh, man, that was a killer, wasn't it? That was so bad.
Yeah, I think it was Metal Gear that I did that 2 or 3 times on. Yeah. Yeah.
You were going back through and you were putting commas where periods were and things just to see if maybe, just maybe.
Nowadays, I end up taking a picture with my cell phone of the password.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a good way of doing it. Yeah. I may have a few pictures of Faxanadu's password screen. Yeah.
When I go back through my phone, I can always tell what I've been playing because I see all the password screenshots from those time periods. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that, you know what? Maybe that's a future show one of these days is things that only retro gamers understand, because I think we've all been through it. But man, this was a lot of fun. I thank you guys so much for showing up. Make sure that you guys, do yourself a favor, check out all 3 of these channels, and you're going to find some very good content, very polished videos, just some really good stuff. So there was another kind of a shout out thing. So Cam Kendrick has been a long time subscriber to the channel, and he watched our last video, NES Overlooked Titles. and kind of suggested that maybe we do one on a PlayStation 1. And I think that we're going to probably incorporate that. Maybe each one of us take a system and do some overlooked titles here in the future. Don't know if that's going to be our next one, but we'll discuss that. But if you guys have anything that you would like us to discuss or to see us do a video on, just to listen to us ramble, throw those down in the comments, man. Get in the comments and just kind of let us know some of the games also that you discovered after the system's lifespan, or maybe later in life, that you're like, man, why didn't I play this back in the day? Why didn't I hear about this game? So throw those in the comments. It's always great. And these guys are always in the comments after these episodes, and they're right in there contributing and answering questions and replying to your comments. That's a big thing. So it's just being part of this community. So I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and spending it with us, watching this video, especially if you made it to the end. Thank you very much. Make sure and check out Kind of Cool Productions, Dad Racer, and Old School Gaming Stories. Chat them up, tell them, that you saw them on the Retro Gaming Roundtable. And, if you like their content, give them a sub, give them a thumbs up. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. And this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joel.
Welcome aboard, Lennon.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Welcome,
guys. I've had a blast.
Yeah.
Can't wait to do it again.
Good to have you.
Well, you fit in pretty well, man.
Cool. I just want to be an asset to the show. Try to be entertaining.
Well, sometimes I'm an asset, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. All right. So thank you guys for joining us, and I hope you have a great and safe rest of your day.